Hey friends, Pete Valdez here, talking about ratios and understanding what a buyer's buying power is, right? So when we're looking at what a buyer can afford, the first thing that one of the first few things that the banks look at is, income, right? And their debts. And then ultimately what their new payment's going to be on their house so that they can come to a decision whether or not this buyer has the ability of qualifying for a home. So credit is one thing, obviously, but we're not talking about credit today. Today, we're just talking about how much can the buyer actually afford. And so if you've been doing this now for a little bit, you probably got, understand a general have a general understanding of how it works. But for those that are maybe a little bit newer and trying to figure out, what a client is telling you and what they're looking for, and just trying to connect the dots for someone who is just not really well guided and needs to understand what they can afford. So that's what we're doing today. And we're going to talk about qualifying ratio. So I'm going to share a screen here with you, just to kind of give you a little bit of a better understanding, right? So understanding basic qualifying ratios. The first thing you need to know is, the house payment, right? So we need to know how much the house payment's going to be. We're not going to, for this exercise, we're not going to do a video on how to come up with the house payment, but we are going to talk about ratios, right? So you need to know the house payment, what the new house payment will be, what the buyer's monthly income is. And so if you have one buyer, you just need to deal the monthly income for that one. But if there's multiple buyers, or if there's two buyers, in most cases, you're going to use the monthly income of both buyers. And then also you need to know your total monthly debt. So for the rotating debt, you need to know things like credit card debts, car payments, student loan payments, things like that. Um, so house payment, monthly income, and monthly debt. As long as you know that, we could actually come up with some ratios. Um, some folks ask me, do I need to know things like, how much I spend on groceries, or how much a buyer spends on cell phone bills? And no, it's just things that really appear on your credit. Okay, so things that get reported to the credit card company. I'm sorry, to the credit bureau. Um, so you'll hear the lenders talk a lot also about front end and back end ratios. And front end and back end ratios, really all that means is the front end means it's the new house payment divided by the monthly income. I'm going to show you an example here of how that looks like, but you just need to know the new house payment, divide that by your monthly income, and then it's going to give you a percentage. Your goal for FHA and for conventional is typically about the same, but the goal is to be under 42%. Can it be a little over? Yes, it can be slightly over sometimes. It's not everything. This is just a general guideline. And I also want, by the way, I should have prefaced this from the beginning. I'm not a lender. I'm not licensed to do mortgages. I'm just giving you a general understanding of how it works so that hopefully the next time you're with a client, you can, do these quick numbers and help you kind of guide the client a little bit easier. So there's that. So that's the front end. The back end ratios is the new house payment plus your monthly debts divided by your monthly income. So you're going to add up the new house payment plus their debts that we talked about, and you're going to divide that by the monthly income. That's going to give you another ratio, another percentage. Your goal for FHA is typically in that 56, 57% percentile. It's not to say that you can't go a little bit over. You always want to check with your lenders on all this stuff, but as a general rule, 56, 57 for FHA is your target. Okay, for conventional, a little more rigid, a little more restrictive, it's typically 45%. Now, there's lenders that can do more. There's always going to be a different buy box for different lenders that have different investors on the back end. But generally, that is the rule, for a lot of these lenders, is that's as a percentile. Since we're here, let's go ahead and do a quick example of what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and use $3,600 as a payment, the new house payment. And just FYI, I came up with 3,600 just because, I'm going off of an average household price of 450. So if you have a buyer who's looking at 450, FHA at 6.5, 6.6 roughly right now. The payment's going to be all in about $3,600. So while I have the screen open here, I'm going to get this $3,600 payment, and I'm going to divide this by, let's see here, let's do 8750, which I believe that's going to be kind of the bottom line. So I don't have my calculator open. Let me open up my calculator. Let's see here. All right, so real easy. So 3,600 divided by 8750. I'm right on the mark. It's 0.41114, right? So my goal was to be at 42, under 42%, and I'm there. So 3,600 divided by 8750, that gives me a percentage. I'm at 41%. This is what you want for either conventional or FHA guidelines. Okay, that's going to work either way. Now, if I do the same thing here and let me back this up. If I were to do the same thing and add any debts, right? So if I add debts, let's see if I do 3,600 plus a $500 car payment, I'm now at 4,100, 4,100. Let's see here, 4,100 divided by, what did I say, 8750. That gives me another ratio of now 46.85 roughly, right? So that's a percentile. So my goal for conventional was 45, 46. I'm right there on the line. It probably would work for FHA. I'm definitely under the guideline, which is 57%. Anyways, this is just a quick video on running ratios. There's a lot more to it. I always suggest you check with your lenders for the best guidance, and folks that are licensed in it. But if you're a realtor and you're out there investing time with your folks, you definitely want to make sure you're able to guide them and help them understand what they can and can't afford, right? So there's things that we want and things that we can actually realistically achieve. And so hopefully this helps you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and please subscribe to my channel if this helps you. Thank you very much.